T-Bar, Slapjack, and Mace. T-Bar, Slapjack, and Mace. T-Bar, Slapjack, and Mace. Was that really the best you could come up with for the names of the members of Retribution? Dominic Dijackovic, Shane Thorne, and Dio Maddian? Those were the best names you could come up with for those three? Why even bother changing their names for? Why? I can deal with a name change. I can deal with a name change. But seriously. Why terrible names? Why terrible names? If you wanted to change their names, at least change it to something that actually, feels intimidating. Now, I get it, Dominic Dijackovic. His name's Dominic. You don't want two Dominics on your roster. Oh, so let's just completely rename him. What was wrong with Dijak? What was wrong with calling him just Dijak or just Dijackovic? You've done that before. You've taken away their first names before. You could have just taken away the Dominic and just called him Dijackovic. But no, you call him T-Bar! Shane Thorne. He gets the worst name out of them all. My poor guy from Perth, Australia. My poor man from Perth, Australia. You call him Slapjack. Really? He's got a weird mask on. Look, I'm glad Shane Thorne's in Retribution. I really am. I'm happy that Shane Thorne is in a big, prominent role on Monday Night Raw. I'm very happy for him. Don't get me wrong. I'm happy for all those people that's in Retribution. But you mean to tell me you had to give them god-awful names? We don't know the names of Mia Yim and Mercedes Marquez yet. We don't even know if Mia Yim and Mercedes Marquez will still be their names. Dijackovic is called T-Bar. Thought Shane's called Slapjack. And while Dio Maddian is called Mace. Good freaking God. I was really into this Retribution stuff. I really was. I was really into Retribution. I was really enjoying the stuff that they wanted to do with this stable. But all they did was kill it in a click of a finger. And now my interest is gone. All because you gave these names to these three talented guys. Now me personally, I haven't seen Dio Maddian wrestle much, so I can't really comment if he's good or not. Well, I guess I saw him wrestle on Raw today. But as Mace, you know how I refuse to call Chad Gable Shorty G? Well, let's add T-Bar, Slapjack, and Mace to that list of names that I absolutely refuse to say. From now on in these reviews, I will be calling the members of Retribution by their actual names. Dominic Dijackovic, Shane Thorne, and Dio Maddian. Those are the names I'll be calling them by from now on. I am not calling them those new names. Those new names are bad, and they don't deserve to be uttered on this review, even though they were like about 100 times already. Just absolutely terrible, man. just awful. This whole Raw just didn't feel great. The women, as usual, are the best thing on these shows. Like, what else do I need to tell you about these reviews? The women are always the best thing on these shows. I always tell you. Whenever I find a bad show, I always look to the women as the most positive thing on the show. Zelina Vega had an impressive showing in her debut match on Monday Night Raw. Asuka and Peyton Royce had an incredible promo segment, followed up with a bit of a lackluster of a match, but you know, Peyton Royce, you know, she needs to get better. Which is why I believe WWE should have pushed Billie Kay. You know, I feel like she deserves it more, but you know, they'll get better. Peyton Royce is good, but you know, I will admit she didn't look good today. But at least she was protected. At least she was protected. So that's the ultimate plus there. But anyway, Retribution, you know, they started off. They spoke. And, like, you can clearly see who they are now. Like, they've got, like, these little masks across their face. But you can clearly tell who they are now. So you can clearly tell who they are now. And so, yeah, they ended up beating down the Hurt Business. The lame business, as I call it. Then we had this really bizarre triple threat tag. It was Angel Garza and Andrade facing off against Rollins and Murphy. Which I don't know how Murphy would trust Rollins after what he did to him last week. And the random pairing of Dominic Mysterio and Humberto Carrillo. Another jobber. Humberto's a jobber. I've lost a lot of interest in Humberto. So, yeah. But anyway, Angel Garza and Andrade get the win here. Seth Rollins deserts Buddy Murphy. No, when I say deserts, I don't mean he gives him dessert. He ends up walking away and leaving him. All by himself to defend himself. So Garza and Andrade win. So we're getting this tag team again. I thought these two broke up. Again, I don't understand this. Why couldn't you just done Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin in this match? Made more sense to me. But no, you would rather have friggin' Hurt Business, friggin' have match 1000 with bloody Apollo Crews and Ricochet. The Kevin Owens show had Shane McMahon on the show, which we got a good look at Dijackovic. I almost forgot his name. So we got a good look at Dijackovic, another big boy that Vince will really like. But yeah, not much to say there. We had Randy Orton make his return. He returned during the Keith Lee-Drew McIntyre match. I don't know why you needed to do this. Randy Orton was always going to come back. Randy Orton was upset with the fans for doubting that he'll make it back to Clash of Champions. Don't worry, Randy. I knew you were going to be back. So you don't need to shame me. I knew you were going to come back. And Randy Orton cut a very good promo. A motivated Randy Orton is what's best for WWE. And I love Randy Orton. You know. You can obviously tell because I'm wearing my Randy Orton shirt. I really hope Randy Orton walks away as WWE champion. But I think I have a theory on how WWE is going to do that. So we'll talk about that later on. So we had Zelina Vega. As I said, she had her first match on Monday Night Raw. She beat Mickie James convincingly with a backstabber. Very nice move from Zelina. She's very talented, and I can't wait to see the future of this woman. Vince McMahon has said that he's very high on Zelina, and Zelina confirmed this herself. So get used to seeing Zelina Vega. If you don't like her, tough luck. Get used to seeing her. So we had match 1 trillion. That is Cedric Alexander, or should I say Apollo Crews, facing a Retribution member. Because I swear to God, we have so many of those. Wait, did I say Retribution? I meant Hurt Business. I think I said Retribution. Apollo Crews faced another bloody Hurt Business member. This time it was Cedric Alexander. If I accidentally said Retribution, I apologize. I didn't mean to say that. But Apollo Crews wins, and apparently he's getting the title shot, you know, against Bobby Trashley for the United States title. We had this really dumb segment where R-Truth was at the beach and he was being chased by a shark. Oh no, a shark is going to become 24/7 champion. Could not care less about the 24/7 title. Dolph Ziggler won a match on Raw Underground. Who cares? I don't. If you do, I don't. So now we get to the bizarre part of Raw. Seth Rollins came out. Like I said, he walked away from Murphy. And Seth comes out, he has like a file in his hand, and he goes on to say that, you know, and then he just, you know, was trying to drive a wedge between the family by bringing up the whole thing with Eddie Guerrero in the past in 2005, where Dominic is really Eddie Guerrero's dad. But Ray says, we've already been down that path, Seth. So that's not going to work anymore. Seth agrees. And he says, well, you know what? You're right. He says, but you want to know who else? And then he turns his attention to Ray's daughter, Aaliyah. He shows footage of what happened last week on Raw from the Steel Cage match where Aaliyah did this. Where everybody thought it was going to start a love angle. And Rey Mysterio says something that upsets Aaliyah and she walks away. She ends up walking away. So, whatever, I suppose. Nia Jackson, Shayna Baszler squashed Natalya and Lana. Really nothing surprising there. Lana tapped to the Karafuda clutch, as it's called. A lot of people thinking that this is Lana's punishment because Rusev's in AEW. No, Lana isn't being punished because Rusev's in AEW. Lana is just a frickin' jobber. Lana sucks. It has nothing to do with Rusev being in AEW. Lana is just a trash wrestler. She sucks. She deserves to be treated like this. She is the definition of a jobber. That's what Lana is. She's the absolute definition of a jobber. You can say the AEW bullshit all you want. You can say it's AEW all you want. But in reality, the truth is, Lana is a jobber. Get that through your heads. Riddick Moss beat Eric of the Viking Raiders in Raw Underground. I don't care. You don't care. We had a You had Asuka versus Peyton Royce. Now, as I said, this match wasn't, the best. But, Zelina Vega interfered and caused it to end by DQ. So Asuka did win by disqualification. So Zelina Vega sent her message to Asuka. And Murphy and Aaliyah had more arguments with the Mysterio family, and Murphy would later confront her later on, feeling bad for her, kind of returning the favor from what happened last week. How Aaliyah felt bad for Murphy last week on Raw from what Seth did to him, but now Murphy is returning the favor for feeling bad for her, and Murphy doesn't seem to like what Seth is doing. So you can kind of see that Murphy kind of doesn't agree. You can kind of see that Murphy isn't agreeing with what Seth is doing to the Mysterio family. And he straight up said to Aaliyah, he says, if I've done anything to hurt you and your family, I am sorry. So Murphy is kind of, you kind of think he's turning face, but you kind of don't know. So he's kind of being the third wheel in this whole scenario. He's being beat up by Seth because he keeps messing up. But now Aaliyah, I don't get it. Aaliyah's 19 years old, and Murphy's 30, 31. So I don't get it. I really don't get this. I really hope this isn't land. I really am hoping that this is not going the love triangle direction. I really don't want Murphy to start a relationship with a 19-year-old. I just really hope that's not the case. And the main event was the Hurt Business facing off against Retribution. And that's when they got their new names, which, as you know, I'm not going to be saying anymore on this channel. Dominic Dijackovic, Shane Thorne, and Dio Maddian. And the match ended by disqualification. And then out came Drew McIntyre and the rest of the Raw roster. Now, remember how I told you earlier that there can be a way to have Randy Orton become WWE Champion. Now, because Drew McIntyre came out and got involved with Retribution's business, and yes, I know Randy Orton RKO Drew McIntyre at the end, because that's, I know, what a lot of people are going to say. But who's to say that Retribution help Randy Orton? Who's to say that Retribution doesn't help Randy Orton win the ambulance match? They don't do it because Randy's not the leader of Retribution. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is they just do it for their own reasons. They don't care about, Randy Orton. They don't care about Randy Orton. They just attack Drew McIntyre because he stuck his nose in their business. So I could see that as a way to get the title off Drew. So that way you don't... And remember, this is an ambulance match. So you can have Randy win by not putting Drew in the ambulance. You could have Retribution put Drew in the ambulance, and Randy walks away with the win, and then you can do the rematch between the two of them at Hell in a Cell. And that's when you can give the title back to Drew. That's how I think they should do it. But knowing them, they're probably just going to have Drew straight up win, and no Retribution to be seen. But yeah, that's your Monday Night Raw, guys. A very bad show. I only found the women entertaining. I felt like the women with Zelina Vega, as I said, was very good. Zelina is definitely going to be someone I'm definitely going to be growing on. I love her already, and I'm going to be loving her even more. She's so good. Peyton could potentially be the next challenger to Asuka's title after what we saw. The whole thing with Zelina Vega seems to be could just be a one and done. Bianca had a promo video, but it just doesn't seem like they've got anything for Bianca at this time, which is fine. it is fine that they're taking their time with Bianca Belair. I just want to mention this before I go. I'm glad they're taking their time with Bianca Belair, because if you just rush Bianca Belair to the championship, then you're going to give the fans the impression that you're shoving this woman down our throats. You don't want to do that. I would rather Bianca, I would rather them, build Bianca up. Maybe have her win the Royal Rumble or win some kind of match to get like a match with Asuka at like WrestleMania or something like that. But I'm just saying that not giving Bianca anything to do, or not putting Bianca straight into the title picture, it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. It's a good thing that they're not putting her in the title picture straight away. Because think about this. If you put Bianca Belair straight away in the title picture, then you'll be getting people saying Asuka shouldn't lose, or you'll be hearing people say, oh, Bianca shouldn't lose because she's undefeated. Like, then you'll have people complaining about how, oh, WWE's, put themselves in a corner. They don't want to have Asuka lose, but you don't want to have Bianca lose. Then you will have people complain about that scenario as well. So that's why I'm saying it is best for the time being for Bianca Belair to just stay back for the time being. Give people like Zelina Vega a go. People like Peyton Royce. People like Billie Kay. Like, Raw's got a solid division. They've got a solid division with some very talented females. Sure, no Charlotte and no Becky really damages the division, but you got solid women. You got solid women on your roster that you could really use. Like I said, like Zelina, like Peyton, like Billie, like, I guess, Natalya, Liv Morgan. You got some very solid women in there. If you have Nia and Shayna drop the tag team titles to the Riot Squad, then you can add Nia and Shayna to that conversation in the Raw Women's Championship picture. But yeah, that's really all I gotta say, really, and I hope you guys understand why it's best to not have Bianca in the title picture straight away. I know everybody wants her to be champion, but at the same time, people will end up complaining if she is in the title picture too soon. So I think you just gotta wait for the right time to give Bianca Belair that big push. So anyway, guys, that is the end of this Raw review. I hope you guys enjoyed. Hit that thumbs up. Comment your opinions on the show down below. Subscribe if you haven't done so. And I will see you all next time.